Welcome back. You're watching News X. My name is Vineet. Following Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with the Senior General Mr. Aung Hlaing, Chairperson of the State Security and Peace Commission of Myanmar, on the sidelines of the SCO Summit in Tianjin, China, the Ministry of External Affairs has released a statement. The statement read, and I quote, "The leaders reviewed ties and discussed the way forward on several aspects of bilateral cooperation, including trade, development, partnership, defense and security, and border management." PM reiterated India's readiness to support the development needs of Myanmar as well. We'll continue to talk about this and a lot more with our guest. Joining us at this point in time to talk more about this is Major General Sanjay Meston, Senior Defence Expert. Manan Dwivedi, Foreign Affairs Expert, also joins us on the show. Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, President of the CDPR, with us on the program here as well. Last but not the least, Mithali Nikore, economist, also joins us on the program as well. Dr. Bhattacharya, I'll begin with you. Well, we've been tracking every detail, every update from the SCO right here on NewsX. We have covered just about everything, but regardless of all the updates coming in, that one elephant in the room, for the lack of a better word, is American tariffs that we continue to talk about, and that continues to sort of haunt this summit and this forum as well. BRICS is something that the American president has shown a lot of resentment for in the past as well. He accused the BRICS summit of being something that is trying to destabilize and de-dollarize the world. Now with this renewed sense of friendship with China, what does the SCO mean for the world, and what does it mean for the Americans and these tariffs, if anything at all?
As I mentioned in your show in the morning, that just like in domestic politics, there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. Similarly, in geopolitics, there's no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. So SCO provides an alternate platform. It's as simple as that. And if you look at some of the key economies in SCO, which is China, Russia, Iran, besides India, US seems to have an adversarial stance towards all of them. Also, interestingly, if you look at the economies of the member countries of SCO put together, it's larger than the US economy. So at this point in time, given the backdrop of tariffs, which appeared to be unnecessary and unwarranted to the rest of the world from the US, these economies are all looking for alternate ways of selling their goods. So they're looking at an alternate economy which compensates for massive holes that have happened in their export basket. India, as an example, is having roughly about $40 to $50 billion of a hole that is there in its export basket. Can it find an alternate market? And which is where the SCO and the current Tianjin summit is very, very timely, because it adds up to the total size of the US market. Now, having said that, US market before Trump came in was a very good two-way street. The Americans could access our market, we could access their market, and there were some issues in between that, but those were getting resolved. The current SCO market access seems to have a lot of problem, which is why this SCO summit is important if the leaders can sort out these problems. There is both a tariff barrier and, more significantly, non-tariff barriers. The biggest among these economies, in fact, if you look at Russia, China, and India, and perhaps Iran, that is 95% of the total SCO economy. And if you look at them, each one of them have a significant problem in their market access. Iran has a market access problem because of the sanctions put in by the US. China has put up its own market access issues. Russia has its market access issues because of the ongoing conflict, and its market is not as big to compensate for the consumer goods that consumers in US have been consuming. The structure of the Russian market is significantly different. And therefore, in this backdrop, this SCO meeting has a sense of urgency. It's very critical. Things will not happen in this summit per se, but it'll open up a segue to a larger conversation, which can then open up these markets for these economies that we're talking about.
General Meston, your impressions of the SCO? Pakistan is there, Russia is there, Iran is there, and India, of course, has its own aspirations and motivations and ambitions when it comes to becoming an exporter of defense equipment. How is the SCO going to respond to this kind of an ambition from India, considering the fact that China does consider itself the leader around here?
Yeah, very true, Vineet. Firstly, how do I look at the SCO and its impact? I think SCO, yes, it is a major grouping of many countries, including India, of course. And there are a large number of countries who are just having an observer status, and some are dialogue partners. So as on date, people, countries from Armenia, Azerbaijan, they are also attending. Of course, many countries, or rather all the countries from the Persian Gulf area, that is the GCC countries, and Iran. Iran, of course, is a member of the SCO, but the other GCC countries are attending. Many countries in East Asia. So number of countries are attending. So if you see, major economies of the world are attending, major land masses of the world are attending, and it's a major grouping. Now, how one looks at it, firstly, as regards America is concerned, I think America has now started realizing that there are two groupings now which are actually becoming a counter to the West. And one is, of course, the SCO, and the second is, of course, the BRICS. And I think for America, more problematic can be BRICS, because if you recollect, I think the Brazilian president has mentioned yesterday that he's proposed to the members, the other BRIC members, that we should also have an extraordinary session of the BRICS. Maybe even this time they can have, probably they can even get the South African president, possibility exists. But this proposal has come, and the purpose of that is basically to counter or talk about the American, trade war. So as regards the SCO regarding India is concerned, yes, we are an important member of that, and we only joined in 2017. And earlier we were observer status, and way back in 2005, when SCO conducted its first SCO peacekeeping exercise, I was fortunate then as a colonel to be heading the Indian delegation to China. And there was major participation by China and, of course, Russia. To some extent, the participation was there by the Central Asian republics, but very less. And of course, we were military observers called from India, Pakistan, and of course, Iran. So the way today it has progressed, we have joined SCO along with Pakistan and Iran 2017. Now, it's a good thing, but the contentious issues are, firstly, we have Pakistan, who's an all-weather friend of China. So how will China play out this bilateral issues, of course, cannot be discussed. Like today, even in the Prime Minister's meeting, nothing was talked about the cross-border terrorism or terrorism as such. So so therefore the Indian interest would be at variance with the concept of the SCO grouping to some extent. Yes, as regards the bilateral trade is concerned, bilateral mechanism is concerned, today's meeting has given a good start point between India and China for bilateral rectification of a lot of problems, but the contentious issues continue to remain. And the main contentious issues between India and China are two. One is the unresolved borders. Is China ever ready to, let off its claim on Aksai Chin and let off its claim in Arunachal? That I think will never happen. So therefore, Prime Minister of India, and rightfully so, China has discussed that we need to maintain peace and tranquility across the entire border, and that possibility exists. But another contentious issue is this Pakistan factor. We are aware China has supported extensively in Operation Sindoor. Number two, they are always supporting the terrorism. Whenever we have gone to the UN Security Council for putting the Jaish-e-Mohammed, Masood Azhar as the global terrorist, China then does not back India. So these are issues they are supporting terrorism. And number three is, of course, the CPEC. And fourth issue is what China is also doing is, its interference in Myanmar and our northeastern states, and also now, along with China, it's also destabilizing Sri Lanka. So to some extent, there are going to be a lot of contentious issues between India and China, despite being members of the SCO. So anyway, there's a beginning to something. So I think it's a step in the right direction that whatever has been decided, at least resolving the border mechanism, bilateral trade, I'm quite optimistic that the trade between China and India can be opened up in the border areas. Nathula, the brigade which I commanded, I think trade may resume. But again, I noticed, when I was a brigade commander in Nathula, the trade generally was in favor of China even in these three border points, Lipu Lake, Shipkila and Nathula. Because generally I saw more attractive items were coming to Indian side and we were sending only, oil or maybe matchsticks and something of that sort. So I think even if that trade has to resume there on the border, we have to have at least, I would say, equality in that, not that China exports more things and we are exporting less. And we have to rectify this big trade imbalance or the trade surplus which China has and our trade deficit. Another factor I would like to highlight is, see, today's Central Asian republics is very, very important and they are all members of the SCO. We have just $2 billion worth trade with Central Asian, and obviously why it is this? Because there is no direct connectivity. We don't have any land route and we are trying to, of course, open through Chabar through Iran. And I do not know how things are going to pan out in the near future with Iran also. But China has a lot of advantage. It has got direct accessibility to all the Central Asian republics, the BRI initiative. And therefore, China, as on date, has $100 billion worth trade with Central Asian republics. So though we are talking about opening up or diversifying our market, but I think to Central Asian republics, until and unless this is an idea, China gives us some kind of a transit through Xinjiang. Again, it seems to be very, very remote. The way India has done a master stroke on the Kaladan project, that we have bypassed Bangladesh through Myanmar and connected our northeastern borders. So something like this, if China and India can resolve it, that we have direct trade access, I think then we can have diversification, and it is also going to be beneficial to all the countries, the Central Asian republics, to India and to China. So we have to think some out of the, I would say some steps or some ideas which can